Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today we're going to be talking about Trolls Band Together, Trolls 3. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. So, Trolls. This little series started back in 2016 with the first movie. This came out the same weekend as Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange, and expectations for this weren't exactly the highest in the world, but thanks to a hit song from Justin Timberlake, Can't Stop the Feeling, a song that's been played to death ever since, the movie did very well for itself. It opened with 46 million, which is quite good for DreamWorks' average. Made 153 million domestically, 343 million worldwide on a budget of 125 million. Normally that wouldn't spawn a franchise for DreamWorks, but apparently merchandise sales must have been really, really good. So I guess that convinced them to keep going with Trolls, and Trolls has kind of expanded upon not just movies but like shows and whatnot. So yeah, it's now a big brand for DreamWorks. Now, Trolls World Tour, I can't really talk about it because there's lots of You know what? It's hard to discuss it because it's not a pro or a con, but I will discuss. So, Trolls World Tour, as you know, this came out in 2020, and it was supposed to come out in April of 2020. That didn't really happen because of COVID. Obviously, COVID messed up so much. Like it caused the biggest meltdown I've ever seen when it comes to a movie release schedule. And Trolls World Tour, instead of delaying it, Universal decided to release it on PVOD the day it was supposed to be theatrical. And this pissed off AMC so much that they actually refused to distribute Universal's movies for a time. But eventually the two sides broke bread. You know, and everything's fine. But for a little bit, this movie almost cost AMC like Universal's catalog, because even when that happened, when AMC said it, I'm just like, what do you how do you benefit from that? Like you don't benefit at all. Like you're losing out on so much money, so much potential money. Like it's not helping you. So yeah, I just have to mention that. Yeah, Trolls World Tour. I can't really go into detail because it didn't really have a real theatrical release, at least not domestically. So yeah, yeah, so yeah, the first Trolls movie was a hit. The second movie can't really discuss. So, but the first one was a hit. So I'm gonna label that as a pro. Another pro is from DreamWorks Animation. They've had a long history of way too many ups and downs. It's a whole damn roller coaster. um, yeah, just going through the whole thing. They have their hits. I mean, Ants does Ants qualify as a hit? I know Prince of Egypt was more of a hit, but yeah, both did fine. Chicken Run did fine, but that's Artman, so that's not really DreamWorks. DreamWorks. Shrek is Shrek. I don't think I need to explain that one. Shrek. Shrek 2. Shark Tale did okay. Madagascar Over the Hedge did okay. Shrek the Third. B movie didn't do that good, but it became a big meme later on. um, Kung Fu Panda, Madagascar 2, Monster vs. Aliens didn't do that great. How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek Forever After, Megamind, which didn't do great financially, but became a big meme later on. Kung Fu Panda 2, Puss in Boots, Madagascar 3, The Croods, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Home did alright for itself, Kung Fu Panda 3, Trolls, Boss Baby, How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, is that what it was called? Yes, Hidden World. What else? Cruise a New Age, considering the circumstances that came out, when it came out, it could have been worse. And then last year, they had a really good year with The Bad Guys and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So DreamWorks has a lot of hits. They've had some bombs though, and I'll go over those when we get to the cons. But they have a nice amount of hits. So yeah, I'm gonna label that as a pro. Another pro is let's see, Thursday previews 1.3 million. That doesn't sound like a lot at all, but keep in mind, considering like it's amazing it made this much Thursday previews because the target audience is kids, and kids are still in school because and Thursday night is obviously a school night, so yeah, obviously there was going to be a whole lot of traffic, a whole lot of we're going to be like a rush of kids going to the theater unless it's like summertime or something when you can do that, but because it's a school night, can't. But 1.3 million, I mean that doesn't look bad compared to other movies. Um, can't really compare it to Puss in Boots, because that opened on a Wednesday, so it's not really comparable. Can't compare it to Mighty Movie because I didn't even have Thursday previews. I can compare it to The Bad Guys. I can do that, and that's what I'm gonna do. Bad Guys opened with 1.1 million in previews. That opened with 23.9 million, so that's a good comparison right there. Trying to think of some other recent comparisons. I'm struggling to think of any. Hmm. This is kind of a bad one, but um, Strange World, because that was like also that came out around the same time last year. Did this even have Thursday previews? I don't think it did. It did. 800. Well, that Tuesday previews 800,000. So ugh. And as you know, Strange World is one of the biggest disasters in movie history, so that's not great. I don't expect it to do as bad as Strange World. Will probably be close to the bad guys, probably more than the bad guys, but it won't be like a big money hit, but it'll do all right. So Thursday previews are fine considering what the movie is, so that's a pro. Uh, trying to think of some other pros. Let me see. Okay, so its critic score isn't that good. 59%. That's not awful, but it's not great. Like it's the type of score like for parents watching this movie who are forced to watch this movie with their kids. There it's a score where you can be like, all right, um, it's not gonna be great, but you're not gonna want to kill yourself. So I mean, I guess that's for parents. That's a ringing endorsement. It's better than watching something like really awful, and you're just stuck there and you can't do nothing. I'm trying to think of like a really bad kids movie that's come out in the past few years that qualifies as that. Um, Paws of Fury. Does anyone even remember that movie? I doubt it. I I remember it mainly because I was forced to witness the trailer in front of Sonic 2. So yeah, be like watching that. Like that is like parents they're gonna get the babysitter. like like that's a babysitter movie. Like they don't want to deal with that. But this, like they'll live. They won't hate themselves watching it. So yeah, and its audience score is 94%. Its cinema score is, let me see, an A. So audiences like this more than critics. So that's a positive. So critic score isn't that bad, but audience score and cinema score are way better. So I guess that's a pro. Um, I guess next weekend is Thanksgiving, and I imagine this movie's gonna get a big boost because kids movies or family movies they do really well around Thanksgiving. So that's definitely a positive. That's a pro. And I think that's it with pros. Okay, cons. Okay, DreamWorks, going back to them. Uh I mentioned their hits. It's only fair I mentioned their bombs too. Road to El Dorado was a big flop, but it became a big cult classic later on. Spirits did okay, did meh, very bleh. It didn't do that good. but still better than Sinbad. That movie was a disaster. Um, Wallace and Gromit did well, but it's not DreamWorks. But Flushed Away did awful. That killed DreamWorks' partnership with Aardman. B movie didn't do that good. I already mentioned that. Megamind, same thing. Rise of the Guardians was a bomb, despite the fact that the movie has a big cult following. Still a big flop. Turbo, Mr. Peabody, and Sherman both flops, despite not being bad. I think Peabody and Sherman's quite good. Penguins of Madagascar was a big flop. It almost, like, all these flops almost killed DreamWorks. Like, legit. Almost killed the company. But they survived. Captain Underpants did okay considering the budget was like really, really low, but I wouldn't call it a big winner. Abominable didn't really set the world on fire. Trolls War Tour got screwed over by COVID. Spirit Untamed did terrible. Boss Baby Family Business didn't do good, although that had to deal with COVID. And Peacock, released on Peacock at the same time. And then very recently, you had Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, which did god awful. An absolute train wreck. It's their worst performing movie ever domestically, so yeah. um yeah, and that was like their last movie, so that's not good. It's not a good sign. Um so yeah, DreamWorks is a very spotty track record. They have their hits, but they have their bombs, so and the fact that their last movie was a bomb, a big bomb, that's a con. That's not a good look. I guess another con is that with this movie, like with Trolls, like was anyone really asking for a third Trolls movie? Like I don't think anyone was. Some people think the brand's been completely overexposed thanks to being like on like little shows and little cartoons on streaming and whatnot. And the fact that this is very much, it feels like a cash grab. This doesn't feel like a movie that DreamWorks made out of love. They made it to make money, solely to make money. If so, being a cash grab sequel isn't exactly a great look. So it's definitely not a Puss in Boots: The Last Wish situation where they did not need to try as hard as they did on that movie, but I'm glad they did. This, it felt like they kind of just were on autopilot. So yeah, I'm gonna label that as a con. I guess another con, I mean, competition is kind of not, I mean, there's Hunger Games. That's not the worst competition. But next weekend is Wish from Disney. That's direct competition. Although things are not going great for that movie at all in terms of reviews. It's at a 58% right now, which is the fact that it's the reviews are that low, like days, like almost a week before release, that is doom right there. Absolute doom. So, ugh. um yeah, but that's still direct competition. So I'm gonna label that as a con. And I think that's really it. Yeah, I think that's it. So opening weekend, I've seen the numbers being like in the 20s opening weekend, probably in the high 20s. For the numbers I've seen, probably high 20s. Um, I'm gonna go with high 20s. I'm gonna say 25 to 30 million, which I mean isn't good, really good, but I mean it looks amazing compared to Ruby Gillman. And its total, it should have good legs as long as Wish doesn't do too much damage to it, or both movies just do damage to each other. Realistically, um, I don't know. I think 100 million is a stretch. Maybe 80 million, maybe 80 to 90 million. I think is more likely. So I'm gonna go with that, which doesn't look great because considering the budget's 95 million, that's just not good. Don't expect the Trolls 4. That's all I'm gonna say. And that's it. We're done. We're done for the weekend. So, oh, I pressed the wrong thing. So we're done for the weekend. The next week is going to be a little different because it's Thanksgiving weekend, which means all the movies open on Wednesday. So Wednesday we got 3 movies to discuss: Napoleon, Wish, and Saltburn. It's not looking like a very good Thanksgiving, but it's certainly better than last year. Last year was an absolute horror show. So it's that. It's you got that going for you. But yeah, those three movies I'm gonna be doing them on Wednesday. So stay tuned for those videos. And yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? I got playlists on the homepage, all previous um prediction videos. I manned the channel. You want to watch all the ones that I made this year or the past few years. I guess you want to watch my prediction video for Ruby Gilman because, like, why not? Go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Um, Trolls 3. I talked about this once. That was episode 90, like literally 2 years ago. I talked about it alongside Clifford the Big Red Dog getting a sequel, which still hasn't come to fruition, which is really weird. You think they would have gone on that, but nope. Makes me wonder if that movie's ever even going to exist. But yeah, Trolls 3. I uh yeah, it got its this date and the November 17th date, and it never went away. So yeah, that was the one time I talked about this movie. And just for the heck of it, Trolls 2, Trolls World Tour, since I never made a prediction video for that because I couldn't, that was episode 2 where that happened. um, where I talked about alongside, Black Widow, Minions Rise of Gru, and Spiral. So the very early days of the pandemic's effect on movies. So yeah, so you want to watch those two episodes or any other ones I've done. Now I made 219 episodes. I made one yesterday about Dune Part 2 and The First Omen. So you want to watch that episode. Any other ones I've done. You want to binge them all from beginning to now. I highly encourage you to do that, so go do it. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. Um, November recap will come out the first week of December. So stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos and man the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.